Greetings, guys. It's Jurgis. Hopefully, you're doing well. Let's continue on with letter 13 on the spiritual life by St. Theophan the Recluse. And this letter is about life according to the Spirit. I wanted to answer the question at the end of the last letter, but your name day was approaching, and I thought I would send you my best wishes on the occasion. I wish you above all good health, because that is the precondition for obtaining every blessing which man considers to be a blessing, and for the delight and enjoyment of those blessings. Really, for a sick and feeble person, which pleasures are possible when all the senses are in an abnormal state? An exception should be made only for spiritual comforts. They do not depend in such a way on the state of one's health, and they may be present even in spite of bodily suffering. Martyrs, while undergoing the very process of martyrdom, truly rejoiced, actively, and not just with their tongues did they express their rejoicing. What should I wish you next? Usually one has wished happiness at this point. So I, too, wish you happiness. Just why do we wish this? Indeed, no one to this day has defined what happiness is, or who is truly happy. As I understand it, whoever considers himself to be happy is happy. Therefore, by wishing you happiness, I am also wishing you this. I wish you always to consider yourself to be happy. Why do I wish this? People have so many different conceptions and tastes concerning this that you cannot make anything of it. But I would say to you confidentially that as long as you are not living in the Spirit, do not expect happiness. Intellectual and physical life, when the course is favorable, gives something like happiness, but it is a fleeting illusion of happiness and soon vanishes. Moreover, in their presence is a stormy area formed between soul and body by passionate thoughts, desires, and aroused feelings. It is always powerful. With its presence, by reason of the poison of the passions, the only possibility is intoxication, which forgets suffering, the same as from opium. This forgetfulness of suffering does not come as a result of the absence of passions and sickness of heart. Sickness of heart constitutes an integral part of life in this world. The spirit, however, soars beyond the boundaries of all troubles and carries away the person who abides in the spirit, and by allowing him to taste its blessings, which are ever present, makes him truly and completely happy. Well then, shall I conclude my well wishes with this? No, I do not think that is enough. If our life ended with this life, then of course, it would be sufficient to say, be healthy and happy. As it does not end in this way, but continues even beyond the grave, and there only is a true life to be found, then for the sake of completeness in my well-wishing, I cannot but wish you to be considered worthy and be blessed there. May you be blessed in that place. With all my heart I wish you this, and diligently pray to the Lord. May he bring you the true life by trouble-free means, and after that establish you in his ever-blessed kingdom. With this, of course, there arise very harsh conditions in your consciousness. There are, of course, crucial conditions, but are they really harsh? I will make a general comment on this for the time being. Yes and no. Judging by how an individual is set from childhood, and judging by that, I would say that for you, that they are not very harsh. You are already carrying them out. Just be on your guard and do not retreat. Another thought has come to me to send you candy on your name's day, but I do not know if I can get any. I will try. In case you have not forgotten, at one time I began talking with you about an exceedingly settled element that is finer than light. It is called ether. Let us suppose that it exists as a matter of fact and not just a name. I recognize that such a very subtle element exists, and that it penetrates and passes everywhere, serving as the smallest particle of material substance. Along with this, I suppose that within this element soar all the blessed spirits, the angels and divine saints, who are themselves garbed in a kind of remnant made of that very same element. The covering of our soul, understand this word to refer also to the spirit, which is the soul of our human soul, is also made of this very same element. The soul itself is the immaterial spirit, but the covering is made from this ethereal, immaterial element. Our bodies are coarse, but that covering of the soul is very fine, and serves as an intermediary between the soul and body. Through it, the soul acts on the body, and the body on the soul. I am speaking of this only in passing, however. Just keep in mind that the soul has this very fine covering, and that our souls have the very same kind of covering as do all spirits. From this, it will not be hard for you to conclude conclude that this omnipresent element, very fine, out of which these coverings are made, and in which all spirits soar, is the intermediary for the intermingling of our souls and these spirits. For right now, tear yourself away from this idea and turn your attention to our usual matters. You are presently living in Moscow. You are sitting within the walls of your apartment. You are surrounded by buildings everywhere. And no matter where you turn your eyes, you meet obstructions everywhere. Many things impede your keen vision and far-sighted view. If you were to rise above Moscow in some sort of balloon, however, you would see not only the entire city without impediment, but also its environs. If you were to rise even higher, then you would see even further all around. Sharpen your sight and rise higher and higher. You can see St. Petersburg, Paris, London, etc. All of this is because your vision has become keen and there are no obstacles to what it sees. Let us return again to the divine saints. The element of which we are speaking is everywhere and meets no obstacles to itself anywhere. Sunlight passes through glass, while the element can also pass through glass. It also permeates walls, the ground, and everything else. Just as it is able to pass through everything, so are those who soar in it able to pass through everything when it is necessary, just as the Savior passed through into the room when the apostles were behind a locked door. They occupy a definite space, but when they are enjoined to do so or are permitted, they are immediately transferred to wherever it is necessary by means of the element. And not only do they meet no obstacles, they do not even see them. When necessary, they are transferred, but when it is not necessary, they stay in their own space and see in every direction what is there and what is happening there. When their eyes turn toward earth, that is, toward us sinners, they see us clearly too. Not our coarse bodies, because that is not how they see us. Rather, they see our very souls as they are. They do not see directly, but by means of the soul's covering, which is like their own, and like the element in which they live, because the state of the soul is accurately reflected by its covering. Imagine, if you will now, that two people are sitting and talking. During this, the soul of each person has its own disposition. Neither one sees what is in the soul of the other on account of the coarse covering of the body, beneath which the soul is concealed. The angels and saints, however, if they were to gaze upon them, would see their souls as they are, and what is within them, because the state they are in and that which is in them are reflected in the soul's covering. If within the soul are holy thoughts and feelings, then its covering is bright. With each holy feeling, the brightness has its own character. But if the thoughts and feelings are not quite pure, then the soul's covering is likewise not bright. And each impure feeling has its own characteristic, gloom, which is sometimes like fog, at other times like the gloom of night. Suppose you were to rise up to heaven and perceive with angelic vision, after taking on, of course, an angelic body. Then having turned your gaze upon the earth, you would see among the varied masses of people bright shades, semi-bright, hazy, murky. It would not be at all surprising if those who were brightly dressed seemed gloomy to you if their souls were bad, while those in tatters would seem bright if their souls were pure. This is how the heavenly inhabitants see us, and judging by what they see, they rejoice or grieve over us. Allow me to ask you how the saint whose name you bear sees you, especially at present, when she is looking after you more attentively, because you turn to her more fervently. How does your guardian angel see you, and the Lord himself, who sits with the body at the right hand of the Father, but who has promised to be with us also at all times? How they see you is what you are in fact. I am hesitant because I do not want to trouble you and darken your holiday with such a question. On the contrary, I wish to bring you spiritual comfort and joy. For I cannot imagine that you are viewed from heaven as murky or gloomy. You still have not had time to become gloomy, and so you have a bright appearance. My sincere wish to you on your name's day is that you always be that way, so that the inhabitants of heaven see you as being bright. Then from this life you will go directly to them. That is what I wish for you with all my heart.